Hey guys, welcome to episode number 353. Today is Tuesday, so I have another tank tip for you, and today I wanted to share with you a little story. Now, one thing that I like to do every so often is to go on Amazon and search for fish and aquatic products, just like the general category, and then sort by newest products. And in doing so, I often discover some pretty cool new products that just hit the market or just got imported from China. And that's what I wanted to talk about. That's what I wanted to spend a couple minutes talking about today. One thing that I found recently on Amazon in this way is a computer-controlled fish feeder. It's manufactured, or at least the brand on the box, is HDE, which stands for Hottest Deals Ever. And essentially, it's an American company, sort of like a holding company, shell company, whatever you want to call it, which is the American sort of destination for a lot of products that are made in China. And this is actually something that's fairly common, is Chinese companies that have big, manufacturing plants that create a lot of products for a lot of different companies. They have all of the molds, they have all of the circuit boards, they have all of the diagrams and machines and tools and people who know how to assemble products, and specifically products that have been created and which have patents that are owned by American companies. So this one right here, this computer-controlled fish feeder, looks an awful lot like an Eheim everyday fish feeder. And this is a story that gets repeated every single day, and it goes something like this. A company in China gets a contract to manufacture something like an Eheim everyday fish feeder. They get all of the parts in, they learn the entire process, they have intimate working knowledge of how a product like this, especially electronics, go together. And once they have all of that information, if they lose the contract, they continue making them, and they just sell them to someone else. They sell them under a different brand name, and they try to get them into the American market. Sometimes, even if they still have the contract, what happens is they are creating more than are being requested by the company whose intellectual property it is. And so the extra product, they just sort of, do the same thing. They sort of get it into the American market for a reduced price under a different brand name. And, that's fine in some cases. But it's sort of a buyer beware situation, right? Because a company like Eheim stands behind their product. They've got a warranty on it. They know exactly what went into making it, and as such, it has a little bit more inherent value. Companies that are based in China who are basically stealing other people's intellectual property and trying to profit from it are completely ignoring American copyright law, and in the process, they're making money from that, and they might burn their bridges, but at a certain point it doesn't even matter because they're making so much money. They've moved on to the next product, and honestly, it doesn't seem like they really care. And the biggest danger that I see in buying products like this and relying on products like this is the fact that it's not always the same product. So what I did was I took one of my Eheim everyday fish feeders. You can see it right here. I've taken the back off, but you can see it says Eheim right on top, and it's got the 3 buttons, the little control panel there, and the little feeder hopper, right? Everyone's seen these. Eheim Everyday Fish Feeder. This is the Hottest Deals Ever brand. And structurally, it looks exactly the same, right? It's got a back plate that comes off, it's got the hopper feeder, it's got the 3 buttons and the screen and everything else, and to a certain extent it is the same product. If you look at them side by side, you're like, oh, that's the same product. And you'd be right, but it really depends on what you're looking at. Now, these products were made using the same mold. If you look on the inside, and it's probably going to be hard to see, all of the little black plastic bits, they all line up and they all look exactly identical. So the same mold was probably used to make these two products, which means whoever's making the Eheim is probably also making this, right? But the thing that you don't see unless you look a little bit closer is what makes the big difference. It's the thing that you really need to be careful about, and that is the cheapening of the product, right? If this sells for 30 bucks and I just went online and bought this for like 15, there's a reason behind that. And part of it could be due to, you know, not having the brand name on it, right? But if you look closely, there are pieces that are missing. This bottom piece, which attaches to the frame of your tank, is missing on this one. The impeller fan here, which is meant to sort of cool the inside and I believe give some aeration to the food that's inside, is completely missing from this one. You can see the gears, which are metal here, are all plastic here, and they're really, really cheap. If you look at those, they are really cheap. So this might turn, but if you have a lot of food in it, it's not going to turn very well. And you actually run the risk of stripping all of those gears if you turn this barrel manually. And in fact, what they decided to do was spend the money on a sticker that says, don't turn the barrel manually, instead of just using the original parts from here. Even the battery contacts have been reduced to a lower grade battery contact. The circuit board is probably the same, but a lot of the guts that are inside of a piece of electronics have been swapped out. They've been cheapened to the point where it might not be safe. Right? Now, yeah, this is just battery powered, so it probably isn't going to cause a fire or anything super dangerous, but this might not even work. And if it does, I might need to be really careful about what I put in it, otherwise it's going to break. And if this had a power cord, if this was some sort of electronic product that had a power cord, I'd be really careful about, you know, what's actually inside and what they've actually swapped out. To reduce the overall cost of that product, you know, might mean that they've sort of bypassed or skipped a lot of the safety regulations that are in place for products that are meant to be sold in the United States. So yeah, anyone can go on Amazon, anyone can list something on Amazon, and a lot of times products are sort of sneaking by. Maybe they're not sold for very long, but products are sneaking by and they're getting into the American market, and they may or may not be safe. So that's why I say take it with a grain of salt, and really sort of double think before you pick up something, because if it's really cheap, I mean, there's probably a reason behind it. So this was just a real simple case of opening up the back to take a look at the differences, and you can tell right away exactly why this one is so much cheaper than this one. So anyways, guys, that's the lesson. That's sort of what's going on, and it's actually sort of a trend that's going on right now in the aquarium hobby. I think a lot of it is driven by the fact that there are a lot of electronics and gadgets that are making their way into the aquarium hobby, and it is cheapest to manufacture a lot of those things in China. So naturally, you know, when those sort of contracts run their lifespan, or when a company sees that there's a big demand for a specific product and they know they can make it cheaper, that's when something like this hits the market. And it can be a good thing for hobbyists. It's definitely a bad thing for brands, but it really depends on exactly what's going on and exactly what changed. So anyways, guys, I'm not planning on using this. I just thought it was really interesting at how low the price was on it. I'm going to definitely stick with the Eheims, and I'm not saying that because I'm being sponsored by Eheim. I'm just saying it as sort of a general warning to the aquarium community to really think about what you're buying and to make sure that it is safe. You know, because when some of the restrictions are taken off, and you know, when you're finding things sort of out of the blue that just sort of appear one day and they're gone the next day, you know, you never know. I mean, this could be dangerous. You're never going to get customer support on something like this. You know, the best case scenario is if they're still selling it in 6 months when it breaks, maybe they'll send you another one for free because it's so inexpensive. So anyways, guys, that's a quick little rant on products made in China. It's sometimes it's a good thing, sometimes it's a bad thing. It really depends on you know, exactly what's going on, you know, what's changed, and what your outlook is on it. But in this case, the hottest deals ever aquarium feeder, I think I'm gonna have to pass on it. But I'll leave, you know, any future product reviews like this to you guys. If you want to use my little method of going on Amazon and checking for new products, you're probably gonna stumble across something like this at some point or another. And you know, I guess I'll leave you with you know, the fact that this happens every single day. This is not the first situation where something like this has happened in the aquarium hobby. And I think on the whole, it's probably going to be a negative thing in the long run, because companies like Eheim are manufacturing, you know, really, you know, durable products. And, you know, when you buy the cheaper version of that, you're not going to have the experience and the guarantee, the warranty that you would expect out of a product like that. So anyways, guys, hope you enjoyed this little rant, and I'll see you guys next time.